Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, my lady, my lords. In this matter, I appear with Mr. Emmanuel Bitter and Radhika Arora for the Attorney General. From the outset, I would wish to state that the Attorney General has been named as a respondent in petitions number E002, 003, and 007. He has filed a notice of intention not to oppose any of the petition in which he is joined as a party pursuant to Rule 11.2 of the Supreme Court Election Petition Rules 2017, and we wish to declare that the Attorney General is completely neutral on the dispute before this Honorable Court. The Attorney General nevertheless wishes to address this Honorable Court on two issues. The first of the issues are very grave allegations against some members of the National Security Advisory Council by the chairman of IEBC on grounds that they visited the Tallying Center on 15 August 22, from which certain allegations have been made, which I'll come to. The second ground I will address this Honorable Court on is as a matter of public interest on the issue you have raised on issue number 6, which is the interpretation of Article 138, 3 and 10. Chief Justice, the Court, the NSC is the body in charge of our security. It is part of the executive and is established for the benefit of all Kenyans. It doesn't have political identity or political intention. Its members comprise those at the top echelon of our civil service and security infrastructure, and it is a body which in any organization of extensive public interest gets involved to try and see how it can assist on matters of security. The chairman of IABC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, has purported to presume from October 2022, it is clearly shown that on 4th July 2022, the chairman was in attendance of a meeting of NSSC and briefed the NSC on the status of the preparation of general election and sought to involve it fully on matters of security, both in context of ongoing activities and also to help them from time to time. Due to page 13, 31 of Mr. Kenywa's affidavit annexed to the notice of application, which was, notice of motion, which was filed before this court to get the context. At page 31, you start from page 29, and there it is shown the remarks which the chairman, Mr. Chebukati, made necessary support to ensure successful conduct of general election and achieve its constitutional duty. Members also pointed out that successful results transmission was critical and the issue of budgetary constraint by IEBC should not arise, and indeed agreed to assist IEBC on any budgetary requirements for purposes of transmission. And it is from there that the relationship continued. You will also notice that the visit to the IEBC Tallying Center was instigated as a result of the activities which had gone on 13th and 14th, when there was suspension of transmission and display of the result, and without explanation from the IEBC. As deponed by Kenywa, he called the chairman and advised him that the NSC has intention to send a team to meet him and his fellow commissioners for purposes of discussing the security and implication of concerns surrounding transmission, tallying, verification, and declaration of results. The chairman posits that he was early in the morning, when you go through his affidavit, visited by a number of individuals, some of whom comprised politicians and some of whom were various eminent persons in the country, and that their intention was not to enhance the credibility of what he was doing. But he tries to conflate this with the visit of the NCSC by saying, connecting it to what had happened that night, that further, that at 10 a.m. in the morning he was informed by Professor Goulier that the team from NSCA had arrived at the Tallying Center, and he later learned that they had proceeded to the office of Deputy Inspector General of Police. Nothing could have been true than the fact that he was rang by Mr. Kenywa, who told him that because of security concern and tension which was arising in the country, arising out of non-transmission, and of course we have had an example on this in previous election, he was sending a team to go and visit him and discuss the issue of security. That notwithstanding, the chairman pretends that this was an issue which he only came to know when he was informed by Professor Goulier. But immediately thereafter, he concedes that he was rang by Mr. Kenywa, but pretends that the call was by Mr. Kenywa to tell him that the team was coming to discuss the succession procedure, which is a matter which, to his knowledge, neither him nor NCSC are involved. The chairman then adopts confess and avoid posture to discredit the mission by conceding that Kenywa indeed called him, but to discuss assumption of office. We know that assumption of office is a process which is statutory, and members of that office had been appointed and are known and are not members of NSAC or persons who went to see him. Further, it could have been stated in the midst of ongoing tension that the NSAC is sending a delegation to discuss assumption of office when the whole country was waiting and tensions were rising, and in fact there was almost a breakdown at Bomas as these things were going on. The mission was led by Kennedy Kihara, who was the only person who addressed the chairman. The other members didn't speak, and the other commissioners of the other commissioners of IBC of NCSAC, Mr. Kennedy Kihara and Mr. The mission was led by Kennedy Kiara, who was the only person who addressed the chairman and the other commissioners of IEBC. Mr. Kennedy Kiara, in his affidavit sworn on 28 February 2022, equally confirms that his whole presentation was to express the need to expedite the process of declaring the results and ensuring transparency in order to avert public anxiety. But the attitude of the chairman is exhibited by the contempt by which he treated this team. They were not met when they came. They managed to find where to wait, but they were kept waiting for 4 hours. Members of a security team in the midst of an election where tension was rising. Having led them, the chairman claims that Mr. Kiara proceeded to caution him, among others, that if IEBC declared the results with Honorable Ruto as the president-elect, chaos would erupt and that the blood of dead Kenyans will be in their hands. But at this time, they were meeting not in the presence of Mr. Kiara and the chairman. They were all contingent of commissioners and the team from the security who comprised 4 other people. And he is trying to allege that an executive, a top executive of government, would have gone and made this declaration in the presence of all these people. This claim is, of course, denied. Mr. Kinyua, as you know, is a top civil servant, is a top professional, and we all know that in civil service, discretion is the promise of valor. I mean, in fact, they're so discreet that even in normal things, they would not dare have the public know it. Curiously, the chairman reported the events which unfolded at the Tallying Center on 15th August to the police, and they filed both an OB and also made a statement. There was no mention at all of this heinous act. There's also not any mention of the visit in any of the numerous statements the chairman made. As is common in the divided house of IEBC, the chairman was supported by 2 commissioners who incidentally also went to the police and made statements, and both also failed an OB, no mention of this incident. On the other hand, the 4 dissenting commissioners have filed an affidavit dated 28th August, which confirms on behalf of ourselves and 3 others that the meeting indeed took place and what was discussed was issues of security, as was indicated by Mr. Kiara. The allegations made by the chairman are extremely grave and have irretrievably sullied the conduct of the official concerned, and indeed, if proven, can constitute an offense under Section 12 of the Election Act. The court views such allegations with great gravity. It has been the position of this honorable court that where an election offense is alleged, the evidence should be clear, cogent, certain, and the proof of which the law commands to be beyond reasonable doubt. It cannot be based on allegation on one side, on a team which is known to be divided, each part supporting its position, and on allegations of the chairman without any further proof when he had had an opportunity to indicate what happened and failed to do so. In the result, it is my humble submission that the allegation made cannot fly. All the chairman is doing is sullying the character of other people to augment his claim for higher principle and integrity. And at the end of it, nothing comes out of the allegation. Indeed, after that, they proceeded, considered the results, which were not ready as at the time this team was there, and announced the result he wanted to announce. Suffice is to say that this team, having met them and being satisfied that the results were being declared, made a statement to the whole country telling them to keep in peace and that all things were okay. And you will find that statement made on 16th in the affidavit of Mr. Kenywa. The next issue the Attorney General wishes to address is framed as issue number 6, and that is direction of this Honorable Court on queries whether IBC carried out verification, tallying, and declaration of results in accordance with Article 138(3)(c) and Article 138(10) of the Constitution. It is the contention of the Attorney General that the interpretation of the said article is a matter of public interest without going to the application of the article to the dispute before you. The parties have made submissions in connection with the above matter and will not try to take your time by repeating submissions already on record. In this respect, I adopt fully the submissions by Attorney General dated 28th August 2022. The starting point, however, are the two provisions which on the face of it have no ambiguity. They are clear and unambiguous. The Commission is established under Article 88 of the Constitution. Article 250 provides its composition as consisting of at least 3 but not less more than 9 members. Article 253 establishes the composition of each of the independent commission, and Article 253 provides its incorporation. Now, there has been interpretation both by this court and by the Court of Appeal as to what Article 138 it means. And in that respect, I would like to refer you to the case of Raila versus Electoral Commission, and that is the second petition of 2007, and at page starts at page 153. At page 153, this Honorable Court referred to the case of Maina Kiai, and in it, it stated as follows. Clearly, at paragraph 263, clearly this provision in mind, the Court of Appeal in Maina Kiai decision was categorical as it rendered itself. Thus, we are satisfied that this elaborate system, the electronic transmission of the already tabulated results from the polling station contained in the prescribed form, is a critical way of safeguarding the accuracy of the outcome of elections. I do not see how the appellant or any of its officers can vary or even purport to verify those results. Further, the Court of Appeal stated thus, and this is the important one: the appellant, as opposed to his chairperson, upon receipt of prescribed forms containing tabulated results for election of the president electronically, transmitted to it from the near 40,000 polling stations, is required to tally and verify the results. The appellant as proposed to its chairman. Later in the ruling, the court stated that it was further argued, that is paragraph 293, it was further urged in court by a number of counsel for the first and second result that disregarding Form 34As and exclusively relying on Form 34B, many of whose authenticity would later be called into question in the tallying process, the said resolution was simply complying with the Court of Appeal in Maina Kiai. We have already held that we find little or nothing in this decision to suggest that by deciding the way it did, the appellate court restrained or barred first respondent from verifying the results from the before declaring them, or that it was relieving the former from statutory duty of electronically transmitting the results. What the second respondent was barred from doing by the Court of Appeal and the High Court was to vary, alter, or change the results relayed to National Tallying Center from the polling stations and constituency tallying center under the guise of verifying. So here, when they say what the second respondent was barred from doing, they are referring to the chairman. And it seems to imply that the verification ought to be done by the chairman, whereas the court also quoted with approval the finding in Maina Kiai to the extent that the appellant, as opposed to his chairperson, upon the receipt of prescribed form containing tabulated results of election of president electronically transmitted, is required to tally and verify them. The Maina Kiai decision is expressly clear on the issue, and it states at page, I think it is page 104 of our list of authorities, authority number 3, in Attorney General's Case Digest and Bundle of Authorities, page 67 to 107. It says that we hold further that reference to the appellant in sub-article 3C is not to be construed to mean the chairperson, but rather the returning officers who are mandated after counting the votes in the polling station to tally and verify the count and declare the result. The appellant, as opposed to its chairperson upon receipt, upon receipt of prescribed form containing tabulated results of the election of president electronically transmitted to it from the near 40,000 station, is required to tally and verify the results received at the National Tallying Center without interfering with the figures and detailed process. In Article 138.10, the chairperson then declares the result of the presidential election and delivers a written notification of the result to the Chief Justice and to the incumbent president. That is now circumscribed and narrow the role of chairperson of the appellant. So it is clear from that according to Maina Kiai, the role of the chairman was to declare the results, and the role of the IEBC was to tally and verify. And that is indeed consistent with the expectation of Article 10, our national principles and national values. So we humbly request this court to take this opportunity to clarify the position without, I think we need to emphasize, and based on what Justice Lena Ola was raising yesterday, the issue of prospectivity and retrospectivity. We're not going to that as the Office of the Attorney General. The Office of the Attorney General wants a clarification of this provision for future election and on how it impacts on other commissions. Is executive role conferred on the chairman, or the chairman is part of the commission and can only act in community with the commission? And that is consistent also with the provisions of the amendments which were done, some of the amendments which were done in 2017. You will notice that the commission has clearly delegated functions to the returning officers. Section 39(1)(a), that deals with National Assembly and County Assembly for them to tally and verify and declare. And 39(1)(b) deals with the right of the returning officers to tally, verify, and declare the governor, senator, and county women assemblies. But the provision purported to confer the right on the chairman to deal with presidential elections, and that Maina Kiai was very categorical that it was contrary to the provision of the Constitution, and this is what they said. They said that the controversial regulations 83.2 and 87.2, were not affected by amendments, and the object is not difficult to see. The High Court, having found those regulations, that's at page 105, to be inconsistent with the Constitution, it was in bad faith for the appellant to reenact them while pursuing this appeal. It is our firm position that the purpose for which Section 39, 2 and 3 of the Act and Regulations 83, 2 and 87, 2C were promulgated or made have the effect of infringing constitutional principles of transparency, impartiality, neutrality, efficiency, accuracy, and accountability. So that was the position of Maina Kiai. Maina Kiai came to this court. The appeal didn't succeed, and therefore it has impliedly been confirmed by this court. So we humbly request your lordships to take this opportunity, and my ladies, to take this opportunity to clarify that position. To go back, in conclusion, to the members of the NSAC, Lord, I would like to humbly submit that these are Kenyans of integrity, highly professional, who have pulled themselves with their bootstraps and reached the echelon of our system, and it would be very unfortunate when it is left for their name to be sullied in the midst of a political context in which they have no interest. In fact, they were merely asked by the NSAC to send a message. A spokesman was appointed who went and sent the message, but they are now being tarred